I had men on the left side of me that were screaming for their lives, women on the right side also saying that they couldn't breathe. I know people's elbows was against my neck, so I got to the point where I couldn't breathe. But I knew that I had to stop shouting for security because security was not helping us.
When going under the crowd, I couldn't really explain the feeling because it was like quicksand. Going under and just seeing nothing but people, like legs, and it was a lot.
Once one person fell, like people started toppling like dominoes, kind of almost. Like it was like a sinkhole. And like people were like falling on top of each other. Like there were like layers of bodies on the ground, like at least like 2 people thick, honestly. Like we were fighting like to come up to the top, to breathe, to stay alive.
I went up to the cameraman to ask for help, and he was like, "We can't do anything for you. You have to go to medic." And I was like, "I can't breathe. I don't know where anyone's at. And can you help? People are dying in there." And he was like, "You have to go. You gotta get out of here. You gotta go."
God spared my life. That's all I can say. Like, I have a purpose. I have to use it because I'm still here today and they're not.
Such horrifying and heartbreaking accounts from the Astroworld Festival. And today we are learning much more about just how this concert took that awfully deadly turn.
Yeah, every hour seems to bring more information, and we want to take a look at what we've been able to gather so far. All 8 victims who were killed on Friday night have now been identified. They range in age from 27 to only 14 years old. And right now we're waiting on the medical examiner to release the cause of death for each victim.
There were roughly 50,000 people at that concert. More than 300 were left injured. 300 injured, and several people remain in the hospital today. Travis Scott has announced he will pay for funeral services for those who lost their lives and those who lost their loved ones, and will give concert goers full refunds. So this is a look at the 8 victims who lost their lives on Friday. Today we are working to gather much more information about each one of them.
Yeah, the last victim was identified today. She is 23-year-old Madison Dubisky of Cyprus. Her family set up a memorial filled with flowers for her outside of NRG Park on Sunday. John Hilgert is a 9th grade student at Memorial High School. He was the youngest to die during the incident at only 14. That according to a letter from school administrators sent Saturday night to parents.
16-year-old Brianna Rodriguez is also one of the victims. Her aunt tells us that she was a junior at Heights High School and had a passion for dancing. Administrators at the University of Dayton in Ohio confirmed one of the 21-year-old victims was Franco Patino. He was majoring in mechanical engineering.
Well, Edgar Acosta confirmed to us that his son, 21-year-old Axel Acosta, was an unidentified victim that had been at Memorial Hermann Hospital after the incident. Acosta said his son traveled from Washington State to see the show. And another victim was identified as 27-year-old Danish Baig. Baig was killed during the crowd rush while trying to save his fiancée. His brother Basil told ABC News.
Family identified Jacob Jurenik as one of the victims killed. Now, according to a release from his family, Jurenik was a junior at Southern Illinois University, where he was pursuing a passion for art and media. And loved ones identified 23-year-old Rudy Pena as one of the victims as well. Pena's sister tells us her brother was from Laredo, Texas. All of these young men and women just so heartbreakingly very young.
Really just out for a good time on a Friday night. Well, here is a live look right now. This is looking at the concert venue. This was Astroworld as it was set up for the weekend. It has been put together, obviously, for victims outside of NRG Park. But right now, quite frankly, it has become a crime scene.
And a vigil for so many people to be dropping off so many flowers as well at that scene. Now, some of the victims from this weekend's tragedy, they are still in the hospital. And one of them, can you believe it, he's a 9-year-old boy fighting for his life at this hour.
ABC 13's Stefania Coley had a chance to speak to his family. She has more on his condition. And Stefania, is he doing any better at this hour?
Yeah, Melanie, unfortunately not. I'm told that his brain swelling has gotten progressively worse throughout the day. I spoke with his family throughout today, and they're just heartbroken, and really even sharing this story is difficult. It's such heartbreaking details. His family tells me this young child, he was at this concert with his father. They were bonding. They loved Travis Scott. His father put him on his shoulders to protect him from the crowd surge, but that pressure overtook his dad, Art and Melanie. His dad passed out. His son fell from his shoulders, and he was severely trampled. I'm told by his family that all of his organs are damaged. He has very severe swelling in his brain. When his dad woke up Friday night after he was passed out, he couldn't find his son anywhere. He was here at Texas Children's Hospital listed as a John Doe because he was brought here without his father because he lost him during that crowd surge while he was trampled. This child is now in a coma. His family is clinging to hope and prayer that he makes a full recovery. At this point, it would be a complete miracle for them. They want answers, of course, and they want to see some accountability. Take a listen to his grandfather, who we just spoke to outside of the hospital here.
How could this happen in the city of Houston? You know, when we go to concerts and different events, we expect safety and security. And all the videos I've seen, I didn't see any security. I saw very little security. If the concert was going to be allowed to continue, the police should have stepped in and stopped it. You know, when the first person was injured or deceased, the police should have stepped in and stopped it.
All right, Melanie, these are the questions and concerns of so many families, right? There are questions and concerns that we're also working to get answered from city officials, anyone who had any sort of authority in Astroworld and what went on Friday night. But right now, this family's main focus here is just praying over their 9-year-old grandson, their son, and hoping that he can make a full recovery. Reporting live this evening from the Texas Medical Center, I'm Stefania Coley, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
Stefania, your heart just breaks for that family, and we are sending that little boy all of our good wishes and prayers that he recovers soon. Well, after seeing our video showing that stampede of people running through security checkpoints, this was happening earlier in the afternoon. An awful lot of people are asking, why wasn't it shut down then? ABC 13's Micah Hatfield is standing by live at NRG Park. Micah, you and your photographer actually took those pictures earlier in the day. Could this have been prevented by, just by looking at those pictures and perhaps stopping things then?
Well, Melanie, hindsight is always 20/20, but many people feel like the signs were there. The signs were there to prevent all of this, to prevent the tragedy and the trauma that so many people are experiencing. People who went to the concert tell me that there was such a different energy this year in comparison to 2019 when they attended.
The vibe from the moment we got through security, like people pushing, not listening, being disorderly, not following directions.
It was something ABC 13 witnessed firsthand. A rowdy stampede of hundreds burst through security at 2 in the afternoon, a checkpoint standard at all large events. Was it foreshadowing for what was to come? Should it have been shut down then? We asked the city and the county and have not gotten an answer. We also have not heard from Live Nation. NRG Park says they are not able to comment because of pending litigation and investigations. Chief Troy Finner said in a statement today that he met with Travis Scott and his head of security a few moments last Friday prior to the main event. He says, I asked Travis Scott and his team to work with HPD for all events over the weekend and to be mindful of his team's social media messaging on any unscheduled events.
Just as much Travis' responsibility as it is every organizer, every security, every member of that who organized this event. It's just as much to blame on him.
The festival boasted 100,000 tickets were sold for the weekend. More than 50,000 attended on Friday.
If you're expecting 100,000 people, there wasn't any more water stations than the 2019 one. I mean, people were obviously they were unequipped to handle this many people.
Ben Castro drove today from College Station to the memorial at NRG Park to leave flowers and a handwritten letter to victims' families. He says he felt the intense energy of the crowd earlier in the day when other performers were on stage. A far different energy than when he attended in 2019.
Don Toliver set, it was just hordes and hordes of people. Even 30 minutes before his set started, we were just getting pushed and waved and we couldn't even move. Luckily, I was tall enough where there was a part where I was just squished and I could breathe above everyone.
And less than 2 weeks before this horrendous tragedy, there was another concert that was canceled here at NRG. It was the Playboi Carti concert. Coming up at 6:30, I spoke to someone who attended that concert and says that he tried to warn NRG. His message to them is almost eerie now. I'll have that coming up for you in about an hour and a half. Live at NRG Park, Micah Hatfield, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
Oh, those pictures are just unbelievable. Stunning. Thank you, Micah. Just a recipe for disaster in everywhere you look at it. Already, there are dozens, as expected, dozens of civil lawsuits against the venue, the promoter, and the artist involved. And this afternoon, attorneys were in court seeking access to the site so they can look at a potential evidence there. ABC 13 reporter Tom Abrams was the only journalist in the courtroom for some of these proceedings. Tom, what did that feel like?
Well, certainly there is a sense of urgency among the attorneys on both sides to get to that potential evidence over at NRG Park. You're right, Art. There are already dozens of litigants in this case, people suing those they believe are responsible for what happened Friday night. And we're told there could be hundreds, if not thousands of cases by the time this is all said and done. More than a dozen attorneys packed a 10th floor courtroom of Judge Ravi Sandal, meeting to hammer out how to preserve the scene and documents related to the chaos from Friday night. Among them, the attorney for this man, Christian Guzman. Seen here among the packed throngs of concertgoers close to the stage.
There's going to be so much video, photos on social media that we're asking the entire city of Houston to please, if you were there, if you have video, save it.
Attorneys for dozens of concertgoers, along with those for NRG Park's management company, Live Nation, and Harris County, negotiated a preservation agreement in which the plaintiffs' lawyers will get the chance to survey 3 key areas at NRG Park, where concertgoers were screened, ticketing, and the concert venue itself. This is a complex case, according to attorney Ryan McLeod. He represents one of the first to file, Manuel Souza, along with 30 additional people.
There were such chaotic events that happened. We need to know the layout. We need to know the barricade. We need to know the security plan. And I know that the police are doing a great investigation, but we need to get in there too, and we need to get in there immediately.
We did ask an attorney representing Live Nation for comment on camera. He told us they cannot speak about ongoing litigation. But attorneys do tell us they believe many share blame for what happened Friday night. Ultimately, it will be up to a court to decide.
These cases are very complex. They are rife with pitfalls. There's legal defenses, legal arguments that the defendants are going to raise. So this is a massive case. It's going to take years to prosecute.
So that is the civil side. There is also the potential criminal side of what happened on Friday night. We'll explore where those two parts of the legal system diverge when we see you at 6. Reporting live outside the Harris County Civil Courthouse in downtown Houston, Tom Abrams, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
Wow, just a lot going on here, Tom. Yeah. Thank you for that civil look as well as the criminal look that's likely ahead. And what they have is a lot of evidence because everyone has video of what happened.
Every single person had a cell phone that night.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, well, regardless of where the legal process heads, it's already clear that there was confusion about how the event was planned and how it was actually carried out and how so many tens of thousands of people were able to just crush the front.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah. Our 13 Investigates team has been diving in on this part of the story. Ted Oberg now joining us live with what he's discovered. Ted?
Melanie and Art, event organizers seem to know there could be a problem. They write about that possibility in written plans we've obtained. But looking back, there are questions now about whether those plans, detailed as they may be, were followed at all. Tens of thousands of people were always expected at this concert. They said that in writing. But when a concert became a mass casualty event, there were just 87 contract medical personnel on site. 87. 5 ambulances and 6 defibrillators, according to the plan. Radio traffic that night makes clear the hundreds of HPD officers on site were doing what they could. The medical tent was absolutely overwhelmed in the midst of all of this. And despite the plan calling specifically for on-site medical personnel to ask local authorities for help when a mass casualty event happens, that call never came.
To be clear, you haven't talked to anyone who got a call or a radio call from an event organizer, from anyone connected with the event, who sort of called in the backup, who said, hey, we need help, come quick?
No, my understanding is that the Houston firefighters looked at each other, took it upon themselves, and I believe saved more lives, and we lost too many.
Art and Melanie, they say they asked event organizers for a radio, but were denied one and only given cell phones for event producers decided to go in on their own when they couldn't reach anyone. Marty Langton tells us the city had just a few firefighters stationed outside the event to handle incidents as people came and left from the NRG Park. When they heard the desperate radio traffic, as he said, they couldn't stand by. They decided to go in on their own. Event producers, just like with all of our colleagues, didn't return my calls either. Paradox, the private medical provider, said in a statement, "It is sorrowed," and quoting, "In our history of every operation, every single person under our care at any concert, festival, or venue has been effectively treated and released or transported to an advanced medical care facility." Art and Mel.
Boy, just stunning, stunning information there. Thank you so much,
Ted.
Ted.
Is, especially when you're talking about 50,000 people there. Thank you, Ted. Coming up, many rumors surrounding what actually went on at the concert over the weekend, and one of them being a person getting injected with something from the crowd. We're going to get more details from HPD coming up right after the break. We'll be right back.